The Russian invasion of Ukraine began on February 24th, 2022. A year after, how are the animals of war? PETA-Germany has saved more than 2,000 animals and reunited some with their human companions. An update next on the PETA Podcast. Welcome to the PETA Podcast. I'm Emil Guillermo, your host for this inside look at animal rights, brought to you by PETA, the largest animal rights organization in the world. On today's episode, a year after the Russian invasion and the war that people hoped would be quick continues. Almost immediately when the war against Ukraine began, PETA-Germany and PETA's Global Compassion Fund swung into action and began working with animal rights groups there to help with the animals of war. They are still at it, going from the Polish border to the northeastern part of Ukraine in Kharkiv. Sylvie Bunz is the PETA-Germany veteran leading the coordinated effort. She tells me the status of war from the animals' perspective 1 year later on the PETA Podcast. Sylvie, it is a pleasure to see you. We've talked on the PETA Podcast now a couple of times about what has been going on. It's now a year.
Yes.
So, Sylvie, first of all, how are things where you are in Germany when you look at the situation?
Emil, I'm very happy to talk to you. I have so much info to tell you about all we have built in Ukraine and about all the work we've done. The situation is still very, very hard in Ukraine. It's about 1 year of war now, and people are mentally and physically empty because they have bombs and missiles every day, nearly every day in their life since 365 days now. Everything is destroyed. Villages and towns are in ruins in Ukraine. And there are so many animals and humans who need help. They really, really need a lot of help. And today I want to tell you why it's so important to be part of our project, why it is helpful and necessary to support PETA's work in Ukraine.
It's been a year now, and it's hard to believe. Did you ever think that this would last this long? Because I know some people were thinking, well, maybe this will be quick, but it hasn't been quick.
When the war starts, none of us would have thought that it would take a year or maybe longer now. It's absolutely hard life in Ukraine at the moment, and animals and people need our help. They really, really need our help. Nobody of PETA in Germany would have thought that it will take 1 year or maybe 2 years, 3 years. Nobody knows at the moment. And the situation is so hard in Ukraine on site. So today I want to tell you why it is so important to be part of our project and why our help is so necessary in Ukraine.
Yeah, because we're approaching that 1 year anniversary, February.
Yes.
Tell us about how things are now and compared to 2022.
Yes, a lot has happened since the beginning of war. In the beginning of war, we started to be in Poland immediately. When we heard animals and people are in need, PETA rushed to the border in Poland. Now, 1 year later, we have established the biggest charitable project that PETA-Germany has set up so far. We have wonderful partners in Ukraine. We help them a lot. I will tell you what we realized over there in Kharkiv. We brought lots and lots of vegan food for cats and dogs, and we rescued more than 2,000 animals so far.
Now, when you say lots and lots of vegan food, I know it's in terms of what? In terms of pounds or in terms of
Yes, I can tell you, I have some very interesting numbers. PETA shipped more than 1,280,000 kilograms of pet food since February last year. And this corresponds to the weight of approx around about 850 cars.
Wow.
So just to make the people to have a vision of how many food we have brought to Ukraine. These are 2.56 millions of meals for animals in need for 1 year.
Yeah, I mean, just think if PETA did not supply that much food, what would happen to the animals there?
They would have been dead now. This is hard to say, but all these animals would have died. It's unbelievable that PETA would not have brought that much food. It is needed so much. We get so many requests every day, and we have a wonderful system of local animal rescuers who deliver the pet food to shelters, to poor people in need with animals, and of course to homeless animals. There are lots and lots, thousands and thousands of homeless animals now. They have been abandoned when people needed to flee, or they never had a family or a house where they lived in. And now everything is in ruins. There have been bombs since 365 days now. Villages and cities are totally destroyed. It's a horrible situation on site. So I am sad about the situation in Ukraine, very sad, but I am very, very happy that PETA, supported by PETA's Global Compassion Fund, can help that much. At the moment, we helped our partners in Kharkiv to rent 2 empty horse stables and 2 empty flats. So in the horse stables, in the empty ones, are dogs, and in the empty flats are cats. We help our partners on site to have 800 animals in their care. And we help them to build a veterinary clinic because everything is destroyed. There are heavy injured animals everywhere, every day. They rescue about 100 animals a week, and they need medicine, they need love, they need care, they need shelter. So we bring this help to them. We help them to buy cars, to rescue the animals, to bring them to safe places. So the situation is really, really tough on site.
So tell me more about the animals. You mentioned horses, you mentioned dogs and cats, of course, farm animals. Tell me more specifically about the species that you're helping.
We are helping mainly dogs and cats because there are so many dogs and cats in need, and we give them shelter in these empty horse stables. All these horses are rescued, but the stables are empty. We had the possibility to rent these places and to make them friendly places for animals to live there for the upcoming months. But of course, we also helped horses and donkeys with food, for example, because also they need care, but it's not easy to bring them out of Ukraine, for example. We had the chance to rescue 2 horses. They are in Poland now at a wonderful place where horses can live nearly freely and they can stay there for the rest of their life. But this was a big action, and it's not possible to bring hundreds of horses out of Ukraine, but we can help hundreds of dogs and cats, and we do it.
So what happens to the farm animals there if you can't get them to places of safety? What are their lives like?
Emil, we are talking about millions of farm animals, millions. Ukraine is famous for farm animals, for chickens, cows, pigs. There is no possibility to help them. Lots of them died in bomb attacks. Lots of them do not have food. They died. There is no chance to help millions of farming animals or farmed animals. So it's important to say that this is one big example in which we can see why it's bad to use animals for humans. Because in a critical situation like this, there is no chance to help them.
And so the dogs and cats, the ones that are roaming, you're able to get them homes, and it sounds like it's a tremendous number.
It's a tremendous number, but our partners, they are very, very strong. And we also have a lot of good contacts to good animal shelters in Europe. And at the moment, it's hard to find good places in shelters because all shelters are full everywhere, but we have the chance to bring animals to safe places. And our partner in Kharkiv, they really, really have good contacts. And with the help of Peter, with the financed cars, they can bring around about 40 animals a week to new families and also to their old families. So there are a lot of people, they are calling Animal Rescue Kharkiv and they say, we are so sad. We needed to flee. We had no chance to take our dogs and cats with us. Do you see a chance to bring them out of Ukraine? We are now safe in maybe Austria, Germany, France, Spain. Now we have the chance to take our animals back. And then Animal Rescue Kharkiv brings these animals back to their families.
Wow, they're able to reunite the animals.
They are able to reunite animals out of the region of Kharkiv. Ukraine is a very big country, not as big as US, of course, but
Yes.
for us in Germany, Germany is nearly a small country. Ukraine is a very big country. It's not possible to bring animals back to their families from places that are thousands of kilometers away. But all around the region of Kharkiv, they do it, they realize this. They drive into these very, very dangerous areas every day where the Russians have been the last month. And it's very dangerous over there because there are all, the ground is full of mines and everything is destroyed. And they bring the animals out there. They take them to the shelter we built it together with them. Then they get vaccination, passport, chip, blood test of rabies titer. And after 4 months, they can leave Ukraine and Animal Rescue Kharkiv brings them back to their families somewhere in Europe. It's a very, very big logistic system and it costs a lot of money.
And so Animal Rescue Kharkiv working in conjunction with PETA-Germany.
Yes, they do. They are wonderful partners of us. We know them since more than 10 years now, and they are in a very hard situation. They work 24/7. They need a lot of help and they help a lot of animals. So we are partner and together we do what is possible to do to help animals.
Now, Kharkiv on the map is on the on the east, correct?
It's on the northeast of Ukraine. It's not far away from the Russian border.
Mm-hmm.
So this is a part of Ukraine where the winter is very hard at the moment. And it's a part of Ukraine where the war was really, really heavy or is really heavy. Every day they have hours without electricity. They have no water. They have no WLAN, no internet, no telephone. It's very cold.
Yeah.
So they need us to help them. They need us that they can feel we are their partners. We help them as good as possible. And they need our financial support, of course. They have no possibilities to build up such a big project. So only with this partnership we can rescue so many animals. With this veterinary clinic we built it, we rescued since October round about 100, 2,000 animals. They would have died without this clinic Peter built it.
And so I'm looking at the map where Kharkiv is, like you said, close to the border, the northeast part. That's where
Yes.
the fighting has been heaviest. But there's been fighting all over the country. Kyiv is in the center, and
Yes.
that's the capital. And then, of course, we have the western parts, Lviv, which is a little more. Is it safer there, or are they suffering too?
This is really hard to say. I would say between Kiev, Kharkiv, the east of Ukraine, and the south, down to Crimea, down to Odessa. These are the places where the heaviest fights are and where the situation is, it's so hard and inhumane. It's not describable what's going on there. In the south part, in the west and in the southwest part of Ukraine, they also have alarms, and sometimes they had attacks in Lviv and the surrounding of Lviv, but it's not that hard like it is in the north and east south of the country. But the whole country is in a war situation because, for example, millions of people needed to flee, but they did not flee to Europe, to the political Europe. They fled to the western parts of Ukraine. So cities are full with people. There are thousands of people who do not have a house at the moment, a flat. They live in bad conditions. They do not know how will their future be. When will there be peace? What kind of peace will there be one day? But they are very, very strong in Ukraine, and they all say Ukraine must win. We want to win this war because we cannot live under Russian political system again.
And so tell me, you've just described how the people are there. How are people providing care and providing aid? Because I know when we first talked, you led a group from PETA Germany, immediately swung into action. You talked about efforts that around the Poland border and then going through Hungary, and you talked about the West. Now today, you're talking about all the great action being taken up by Animal Rescue Kharkiv, along with PETA Germany, which is on the entire opposite side of the country.
Yes.
So, how are the people at PETA Germany who are involved in this? How are the people trying to save the animals and help Ukraine? How are they holding up?
Yes, we have a team of Peter's staff who is in Hungary and Ukraine regularly. They help Animal Rescue Kharkiv also to cross the borders sometimes with lots of animals in cars, of course, with all official documents and all that is needed to bring animals from Ukraine to Germany. We have at the moment round about 250 animals in Hungary, in several private shelters. We are looking for homes and partner shelters in Germany for them to bring them into new lives with new families. One of our team members was in Kharkiv twice during the last month to work with them, to rescue animals in these dangerous areas. And of course, we help them from our office with a lot of organization, logistic questions, and all the things they need to do their work. So we are a kind of, how to say, we are a kind of helpers for all these who help animals every day, and we are on site as often as possible.
Tell me more about any particular animals that you helped save, and and their stories that
Yes.
our listeners might be able to relate to. Any particular
Yes.
animals that you recall helping?
We have, for example, we have a small, injured, old dog, female dog. Her name is Linde. Her family abandoned her, and she was very fearful, and she was very hungry, and she was injured, and Animal Rescue Kharkiv and PETA team together found her in the region of Kharkiv, and she was not sure if we are kind people or if we are not kind people. And we needed a lot of psychology and food to tell her, come to us, we will help you, come to us. But because she would have had the possibility to run away. But then she looked at the team and she said, you're good people, you will help me. And then we had the possibility to take her in our arms and bring her to the safe place in Kharkiv. And these are very emotional moments when you look in an animal's eyes and in their animal's eyes, and you see they ask themselves, oh, can I trust these people? Can I not trust these people? What will happen next to me? Will it be better? Will it be worse? And then you see, okay, I trust these people. And
Yeah.
that's wonderful. And this is something we had, again, we had a lot of times over there. We had these two horses, I just told you, two female horses. They had no chance without Peter. They would have died. They would have been brought to a slaughterhouse, maybe, or maybe they would have died without food. And they have also been very, very fearful, and they have been very ill, and they needed a lot of veterinary care, and they are so happy now. They are on green grass and they are running around a big, big place. They have full-fledged friends. So they are in a wonderful condition now, and that's really, really nice to see.
But
But of course, sometimes we have animals who have no chance.
yeah.
They are very ill and very injured, and we need to take them in our arms, and they go to sleep forever because they are so, so ill.
Yeah.
Some animals also die. We cannot help them.
So the horses, where are they now? They're you got them out of the country, right?
We got them out of the country, and they are in Poland in a wonderful rescue center for horses. And this is the most beautiful place you can imagine, and they can stay there forever. They are safe there.
So they're the lucky ones.
They are the lucky ones. Yes,
Yeah.
they are the lucky ones. And we hope we can help more, bring them out of the country and make them lucky, because we see a lot of horrible situations on site.
Tell me, the dogs and the cats who are out roaming around or just living either with people or maybe they're in packs, but you're talking about the initial fear they have when they approach people who are trying to help. I can't really imagine the trauma these animals are going through. Have you thought about how they must be living their lives as when while waiting for someone like yourself and the other volunteers to come and save them?
This is hard to say how their life has been. Lots of them had families before the war started. Lots of them are homeless animals. But now a lot of animals are really fearful, especially dogs are really, really fearful. And we have them at dog trainers, for example. They live in groups with dog trainers together, because we need to give them a chance to, in the future, take part at a kind of normal life in families. Lots of dogs are too fearful to go to people who live in a flat in a big city, for example. They do not trust in people. They are really sensitive to noises because they have heard a lot of bombs and attacks. So these animals, their souls, they need time. They need a lot of time to, yeah, to get back to a happy life.
Yeah. And so right now, all this is being done because of PETA's Global Compassion Fund. Tell us about the Global Compassion Fund.
PETA's Global Compassion Fund is a wonderful institution. A lot of people trust in PETA, they trust in our work, and they donate to PETA's Global Compassion Fund. And with the help of PETA's Global Compassion Fund, we can realize these kind this kind of big project we have in Ukraine. And Peter is also having projects in Petra, in India, at a lot of places all around the world where animals are in deep need. And Peter's Global Compassion Fund gives us the chance to help as much animals as possible.
And really, without the Global Compassion Fund, you could probably do just a fraction of what you were able to do to date.
We are very, very thankful to all PETA who donate to all people who donate to PETA's Global Compassion Fund, because these people who donate give us the possibility to help the animals. Without PETA's Global Compassion Fund, we would not have been in the situation to make this project to run.
Yeah. And now we're in the year, or we're in the month where are reaching the year point of this. Is there really any sign that of an end?
I cannot tell you, Emil. I can really not tell you. We all hope that the war will end, but at the moment, all military experts they say they expect hard fights with the end of February until spring or early summer, and nobody knows what will happen. How long it will take, we don't know.
Yeah,
And
and
when the day will come, when peace will come, then Ukraine is destroyed. They will need our help for a lot and a lot of years.
yeah, and it's funny that the tanks are rolling in. Germany, U.S. now sending tanks uh, at some point soon for Ukraine's sake. In the meantime, more heartache for the animals, I guess.
Yes, yes. More heartache for the animals and, of course, for the people in Ukraine.
And when people stop you and they say, "God, you're doing so much for the animals," uh, are there people who are ever resentful and say, "Well, what about us? What about us, the people? We need help too."
Of course, these voices are always everywhere, but there are a lot of organizations all around the world who help in Ukraine and in other war situations. And there are organizations who help mainly humans, and there are organizations who help mainly animals. So we are one of these who help animals, and we hope we can go on helping animals. And I think we help animals and humans because, for example, these reunions between people and their animals, this is help for both sides.
Yeah, and you point out something. There are a lot of NGOs and other agencies that are helping people, but more often than not, they end up abandoning the animals.
Yes, of course, of course. But I think we should not judge these people who abandon animals and who flee. In the first weeks of the war, of course, we also had these thoughts. How can it be that people leave their animals behind and go to Europe and they do not know what will happen to their animals in the village they have lived when the war is coming? But now we have heard so many stories of people who had no other chance because they had no transportation possibility for their animals. No bus would have taken dogs and cats. They did not know where they will be in Europe. Will they find a kind of flat or house? Do they need to live for months in big city halls? So the people have been so fearful when they needed to leave their home, or sometimes they ask their grandmother to take care for the animals, because a lot of old people, they say, we do not leave Ukraine, our life has been here, we do not want to go to another place, we take care for an animal. And then maybe somebody dies, then the neighbors start to take care for the animals, and then they call Animal Rescue Kharkiv, or sometimes PETA here, and we make a contact to Animal Rescue Kharkiv that they want to bring the animals to Europe where the family is. So these are hard stories, and yeah, we
Yeah.
need to help where it is possible to help, and we do not judge.
Yeah, and I think just hearing you talk during this podcast, it is pretty amazing what you have built in Kharkiv, what PETA Germany, along with Animal Rescue Kharkiv and all the different partners, because I imagine that it's difficult with not just the war, but you're dealing with people from different with language barriers and
Yes.
different cultures. It really is a united effort to save the animals.
Yes, it is. But we work united, and we work very sensitive, and we work with a lot of empathy. We work with a lot of experience. I am with PETA, for example, for more than 20 years. So we really all try to do the best. The people in Ukraine, the animal rescuers on site, the PETA team here, PETA's Global Compassion Fund, all our partners at shelters in Europe, we really all do the best to help. And it's not easy sometimes, I can tell you, it's not easy, but it is clear what we want. We want to help as much animals as possible, and we are very thankful that we can help them.
It's funny because it's never ending and always changing, which means the need is always in 100 different places at once, which means you have to be fast, you have to think ahead. Tell me how you're doing it as one of the lead coordinators.
In this project, we all have to be very flexible, very quick, very effective, because it's really all the time while we are making plans, the situation is changing. So we have to adjust our plans. We have to find new ways to bring animals out of the country. There are new needs we want to help with. So yeah, it's every day. It's 7 days a week, new situations. We all have our mobile phone with us all the time. There are always coming WhatsApp messages, emails from Ukraine. And yeah, we are flexible all the time. This is the most important skill at the moment, I think.
Well, Sylvie, I know everyone who's listening appreciates what you and the others there are doing to help the animals in Ukraine, to help the animals in spite of the war. It's courageous because it can't always be 100% safe at the time of war, I imagine.
Yes, thank you, Emil. Thank you. And we are very thankful to all the people who trust in our work and who donate to PETA, because this gives us the chance to do this work. And we all love this work, and we do it as good as possible on every day. How long it will take to make peace in Ukraine again.
Well, Sylvie, our listeners are rooting for you to do the best you can do to save all the animals you have. And to date, what's a total number that you usually have in your head? These are the numbers that we have saved so far.
PETA-Germany directly saved more than 2,000 animals until now over this project in Poland and Hungary. And our partners, Animal Rescue Kharkiv, they rescue around about 4,000 in 1 year. And in addition, these 1,200 we had in the veterinary clinic in Kharkiv. These are the numbers we could reach in this whole first year of war. It's a very sad date for us that it's 1 year now. Yeah, we go on. Yeah, we go on.
Sylvie Bunz is PETA-Germany's person coordinating the Ukraine effort. Find out more about PETA's Global Compassion Fund and how it sustains the continuing effort to help animals in Ukraine. Go to PETA.org. And that's our show for today. Thank you for listening. Don't forget to send a link of this show to your friends. Tell them you like the PETA podcast. You can contact us at PETA.org. You can find me on Twitter at Emil Amok, that's EMILAMOK, or see my vlog at AMOK.com, or see my work at ALDEF, the Asian American Legal Defense and Education Fund. That's ALDEF, AALDEF.org/blog. Or if you happen to be in New York at this moment, between February 18th and March the 4th, you can catch me at the frigid.nyc Fringe, the frigid fringe of New York. Emil Amok, lost NPR host, found under St. Mark's. Once again, thank you for listening. Check out all our episodes on your favorite podcast app or on Apple Podcasts, where you can subscribe to as well as rate and review the show. It helps get the word out about the issues you care about. Our music is provided by CarbonWorks. Check them out on YouTube. And join us again next time for more insight into animal rights and the fight for a cruelty-free world on the PETA Podcast. I'm Emil Guillermo.